Those are the headlines for the hour. We start with our top story. World leaders attended a ministerial meeting on critical minerals hosted by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Rubio said 55 countries attended the talks in Washington, all with varying refining or mining capabilities. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance unveiled plans to marshal allies into a preferential trade bloc for critical minerals, proposing coordinated price floors as Washington escalates efforts to loosen China's grip on minerals crucial to advanced manufacturing. Rubio stated that building a trade bloc was crucial to preventing any one country or an international crisis from disrupting supply chains. President Donald Trump's administration has stepped up efforts to secure US supplies of critical minerals after China rattled senior officials and global markets last year by withholding rare earths required by American automakers and other industrial manufacturers. Let's in fact listen in to what Rubio and J.D. Vance had to say.
We have 55 partners that we're hoping to enter into collaboration with. Many have already signed on, and the goal here is very simple. We all understand that having a reliable global supply chains and critical minerals and processed and finished materials are critical to everything we do, as I pointed out in my opening statements to the group. And I think this is a broader mistake made by the industrialized and developed world, as we all sort of fell in love with the design of these things, but forgot that in order to design something, you have to be able to build it. And in order to build it, you have to have the fundamental materials necessary to make it with. That's the key goal of a critical mineral supply. And today it's heavily concentrated in the hands of one country. And that lends itself to, at worst case scenario, being used as a tool of leverage in geopolitics, but it also lends itself to any sort of disruptions, like a pandemic or anything that could political instability.
And on Monday, the Trump administration announced Project Vault, America's first ever domestic critical minerals stockpile. With these moves, we intend to build an ironclad network of new industrial supply chains to span the entire nation. We're going to create good paying jobs, skilled jobs for the American labor force, and those people, those great workers, are going to be securing a new era of prosperity for American families, and I believe for many people all over the world.
Andrew K.P. Liang joins us now, a China strategist joining us live from Hong Kong. Andrew, thank you very much for joining us. This, of course, is in response to China's dominant and growing rare earth capabilities. How will Beijing be looking at this summit, and will it be in any way threatened by it?
Well, I think that China was forced to resort to using its dominance on rare earths to counter President Trump's coercion. It's not as if China just uses mineral dominance just to get what it wanted in the first place, because the whole thing was sparked off by Trump's tariffs and by Trump's coercion, and in fact is predatory tactics using the dominance of the US dollar, the US military, to cover other countries into submission. However, the China's dominance over the rare earths supply chain did not happen on day one. It was the result of decades of Western countries outsourcing the processing of these rare earth minerals to China, because they are highly polluting, some of them even radioactive. But they are all very, very complicated because it depends on the final product. Each product requires different minerals, and each different minerals require different, very intricate, as I said, often polluting processes. And all these skills and technologies and the supply chain gradually coalesce over decades and at great pain to China. For example, the environmental costs and so on. To be able to reach this position, and of course, this position was at the background, and China was forced to resort to it. Now, President Trump's plan is to rally the rest of the world to form a kind of alliance. This is understandable, but then, as I said, it's not the supply, because minerals you can find a great deal even within the United States and also in Australia, in Ukraine, or in other countries. It's not as if the world lacks minerals, but even though the supply, of course, at the moment is concentrated in China to the extent of about 60%, but then the dominance is in the processing, the final processes, because even before this trade war, a lot of the minerals were exported. Rare earth minerals exported from the United States, because, as I said, United States has rare earths as well, for processing in China. So this situation is unlikely to change anytime soon. But however, this alliance, of course, is the first step. It would pave the way for exchange information, to continue the coordinate efforts to develop these alternative supplies, and of course to hone the skills. But this is unlikely to result in concrete improvements. Over weeks. It's likely to take years and if not decades.
Andrew, do you think that any singular nation or even this trade bloc could soon rival that of China's? And why has it taken the United States and other allies to come to this realization that rare earth capabilities are really driving and at the forefront of trade, modern trade?
Well, it's just that if you have a situation which is normal, you tend to forget about it, because the rare earths, as I said, were all processed in China, and even though the rare earths came from other countries, including the United States, they were exported to China for processing, and the processing very, very complicated and highly polluting. But that nothing happened, and nothing adverse happened. So this was taken for granted until China was forced to resort to this as a countermeasure. And of course, it's not just against the United States, stopping the rare earth to be exported to the United States as a countermeasure, but because you can't just stop the export of rare earths, processed rare earths, just to the United States if you allow the export to Americans' allies, because those allies could re-export the rare earths to the United States. And hence, China recently imposed a global management system requiring the application and grant of permits the world over. And this is, again, it's not suggests that China is targeting the other allies, but to maintain strict control over rare earths as an effective countermeasure. And China has no other means of achieving of using this as a countermeasure unless it has a global kind of control system. And that's just what happened. And of course, with the global control, other countries will be affected as well.
Do stay with us as we turn to our next story, and we head to the Indian subcontinent. And India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met with US Secretary of State